Welcome aboard Rocket Ship, the platform with the most relevant content for competitive examinations. As part of our answer writing series for general studies papers of civil service main examination, we take up a question that you might encounter in GS paper 2. So, here goes the question. In light of the recommendations of the Ramnath Kovind Committee, discuss the merits and demerits of conducting elections to parliament and state legislature simultaneously. Now, this is a straightforward question where you have to list both the merits and demerits of simultaneous elections to parliament and state legislature. But what is of significance here that you have to mention some of the recommendations of the Ramnath Kovind Committee, because the question explicitly says that you have to discuss the merits and demerits in the light of, in relation to the recommendations of the Ramnath Kovind Committee. So, how we introduce our answer? We can do it straightforward by saying that India is regarded an electoral democracy. Now be careful here, because sometimes this term electoral democracy is used pejoratively, generally by Western critics, Western commentators, but we are using the term electoral democracy in its literal sense. That is, elections are a defining feature of Indian democracy. With three tiers of democracy, that is, parliament, state legislature and local bodies constitutionally recognized, it seems every year there are elections to one or more houses of these tiers. As is common knowledge, you must have experienced it, that almost every year there is some or other major election. Conducting this many elections frequently raises questions of logistics, election machinery and shift in attention of the entire political and administrative machinery. Obviously, the elections at the large scale that India has demand shift in attention, that is shifting their attention from your usual tasks to the elections for the political and administrative machinery. Therefore, as first proposed by the Election Commission of India in the year 1983, underline it, it is very significant point. There are calls for conducting elections to parliament and state legislature simultaneously. Apropos, that is in that regard, a committee chaired by Honorable Sri Ramnath Kovind, who you know is a former President of India, was constituted to look into feasibility of simultaneous elections and make recommendations accordingly. Now, the idea of simultaneous elections has both merits and demerits, as the question itself says so. The merits being, it checks runaway populism. You can well appreciate that sometimes most of the times what happens, that once elections are announced or once elections are due on the horizon, the political class shifts to populism, and there is generally competitive populism also. That is, frequent elections mean that for sheer political survival, the political class indulges in competitive populism and reforms take a backseat. Again, we can see it through an example. You must have noticed that before the elections, there is generally an improving trend of fiscal consolidation. What we mean here, that before the elections you must have observed actually that there is some decrease in the fiscal deficits. But once the elections are due, that means the elections are upcoming or they are announced, what you would see that generally India's government's deficits generally rises. So there is a reversal of the reforms, reversal of the fiscal deficit reforms. So that is the point we are making, that elections lead to not only the reforms taking backseat but even the progress that has been made. For an example, in this case in fiscal consolidation is often reversed. It reduces government paralysis resulting from coming into force of the model code of conduct, because you know that the model code of conduct places many restrictions on the government. For an example, it places restrictions on major project inauguration, new welfare schemes, etc., which cannot be undertaken. With simultaneous elections, there are far fewer occasions of MCC, that is, far fewer occasions of these restrictions coming into force, and the government can actually work on its plans and programs. And also, simultaneous elections are convenient to electors because, as recommended, this is significant, please underline it, recommended by the Ramnath Kovind committee, having unified voter roll would mean people will not have to separately enroll, nor they would be left out. There is far less chance that they would be left out. Simultaneously, migrant workers would not have to travel frequently to exercise their suffrage right. You can well appreciate that most of the migrant workers are not in a position to claim leaves, to ask for leaves to go back to their places for voting, and many a times they are not as actually they are not comfortable with their resources too. That means they would not have the required resources to for the travel, so their voting right would not be essentially exercised. Having simultaneous elections would mean that they would have to take far fewer leaves and they can actually go back to their places to vote. Moreover, we would explain this point. What the Ramnath Kovind committee has recommended, that there should be unified voter roll for both parliamentary and state legislatures elections, which are nowadays prepared by the Election Commission of India, and for the local bodies, which for now are prepared by the State Election Commission. The committee, the Ramnath Kovind committee, recommends that there should be unified voter roll for all sort of elections. However, many demerits of the scheme are also pointed out. Many demerits of simultaneous elections are also pointed out. In a parliamentary system, you can well appreciate that in a parliamentary system, ours is a parliamentary system, unlike the presidential system in the USA, where the tenure of the political executive, tenure of the top executive is fixed. But in India's case, the Lok Sabha and the Vidhan Sabha are limited in their tenure. Their tenure is not fixed actually. Their term is fixed for 5 years, but their tenure is not fixed. We would explain how, but their tenure is not fixed. What it essentially means, their tenure depends on confidence of the houses. If they lose the confidence of the houses, for an example, a government cannot prove its majority, a government has lost its majority, and no alternative party to can prove majority, in that case the house has to be perforce dissolved. That means this entire demand of having simultaneous parliamentary and state legislature elections is not practicable. So midterm elections have to be conducted. And moreover, please try to, if time and space permits, you can mention that since 1989, only 2 majority governments. So, what we are saying, as there is far less chance of the governments enjoying absolute majority, it would mean that there is almost always a chance of there being midterm polls. It is logistically challenging. Again, for a country of India's size and diversity, simultaneous elections will be a nightmare. It will be a nightmare for the electioneering mechanism for the administration too. For example, providing security and so many other things. Moreover, amending the constitution will likely be construed against federal setup, as states would resist truncating terms of their assemblies. We would explain it here. Actually, under the Ramnath Kovind committee has recommended amending the Article 172 so that the terms of the state legislature can be truncated and their elections can be brought forward. Obviously, the state governments are likely to oppose this recommendation, which you can see from your real life example. What if, for an example, your mains exams had to be preponed, that is, they had to be brought forward? Would you really support it? If it were to be preponed, it would have to be brought forward by 2 months. Obviously, you would oppose it. In a similar way, the state governments are likely to oppose any scheme of bringing forward the date of elections. It is argued that frequent elections are actually good for democracy, as they keep politicians on their toes. It means that politicians are always mindful of the voters, for an example, their choices and their demands, their aspirations. Actually, they are mindful of the voters' aspirations. This is one of the beauty of frequent elections. Now, the conclusion: considering the pros and cons, a flexible approach should be adopted, because we are not sure whether there are more pros or more cons. Both are almost evenly balanced in our opinion, so a flexible approach should be adopted, rather than, as is sometimes called for, one nation one election. Rather than one nation one election, as suggested by Kovind committee, some state elections can be brought forward less than 6 months and bundled together. The Kovind committee calls for bundling some of the state elections with the parliamentary elections and some of the state elections, so that at the same time, that means some of the states should conduct their elections at the same time, so that they are bundled together, and this would be more practicable. So this is how we conclude our answer. But before we end our lecture for today, once again you have a small homework. We have mentioned the recommendations of the Ramnath Kovind committee, but what you are required to do, you make a small note and write down for an example 5-6 of the recommendations of the Ramnath Kovind committee. You might recall that we have already discussed some of the recommendations of the committee. For an example, a unified voter roll for all sort of elections, and second, also that bundling of the elections, bundling of the state elections with parliament and among the state elections also. So these are some of the points that we have already discussed, but you are supposed to note down some further points so that you would have a running note in case you encounter this type of question in your actual exam. As usual, we wish you all the best. Thank you.